In this video, I'll be replacing some of the starting system components on a Porsche 944, including the starter, the battery, and the fuel pump DME relay. If your car's battery has been tested and checks out okay, some signs that you may have a failing starter include things like the engine won't crank when the key is turned, the starter engages but the engine cranks slowly, grinding, whirring, or clicking noises while starting the engine intermittently fails to crank or start, or the smell or sight of smoke coming from the area of the starter. This car has been experiencing an intermittent delayed start condition where the engine will turn over slowly at times, or it'll take a few extra turns before fully starting the car, so I'm going to be upgrading a few of the associated system components. I've got a solid-state fuel pump relay from Focus 9 Technology that has a 3-second pump prime feature which will pressurize the fuel system prior to starting. I'm also installing a high-torque starter from IMI Performance that will increase the engine cranking speed. And finally, I'll be replacing the aging battery on the car with one that has a little bit more output amperage. I'm going to start by swapping out the fuel pump DME relay with this improved solid-state version. I picked this one up from Focus 9 Technology for about $70, and I chose it because I like the idea of actually hearing the fuel pump run each time I start the car, and the solid-state design eliminates the common mechanical failure point on the OEM relays. These are plug-and-play, just like a common fuse replacement, and all you need to do is access the fuse panel, remove the old relay, which is located at position G2 on this late model car, and then insert the new relay. With the relay installed, we can now hear the fuel pump run for a period of 3 seconds when the key is turned to the on position. Next, I'll be replacing the battery on the car. The current battery is mostly functional and it does hold a charge, but it has a production date of December 2013, so it's nearly 8 years old, and it only has 500 cold cranking amps, which is on the lower side. I picked up this one at a local auto parts store for about $170. It is a 96R group size with about 600 cold cranking amps. There are a few different battery options that will work well for these cars. If you happen to live in a colder climate, the 91 group size will offer a higher CCA rating, and it is a direct fit replacement. It does come in at 11 inches in length versus the 96R's 9.5 inches, however. I opted for the smaller physically sized battery as it'll allow me to remove debris from the battery tray a little bit more easily, and that will help keep the drains clear. I've also got some new hardware for the battery cable terminals to get everything cleaned up, so let's go ahead and get this battery swapped out and see what the before and after improvement looks like. With the new battery installed and tested, I'm now going to see what kind of improvement I can get by replacing the starter on the car. I don't have any history on the existing starter, but it does have some surface oxidation developing, and I have a feeling it's getting a little tired. As far as pricing goes, you can get rebuilt Bosch units for around $200 a piece, and new OEM units are still available from Porsche for a little over $800. I opted for this aftermarket option from IMI Performance, which cost me about $280. This is known as a high-torque starter or an offset gear reduction starter due to its design, and it's gotten pretty good reviews so far, so I'd figure I'd give it a try. Historically, there have been a couple different starters used on the 944s. There's an early, larger diameter direct drive unit, and there's a late, smaller diameter unit like the one found on this car that uses a planetary gear reduction setup. This new one features a 4.4-to-1 gear reduction that provides over 500 foot-pounds of torque, and it offers a nice compact design coming in at 8.55 pounds. It does come preset for the most common mounting alignment, but the bracket is also fully adjustable for a custom setup. For the wiring, the positive battery lead connects to the larger terminal here, and the ignition switch or starter control circuit connects to the smaller blade-style terminal on the solenoid housing. The factory wiring setup on the car features a ring terminal for the starter control, so in order to preserve the original condition of the wiring harness on the car, I'm going to make an adapter using some 12-gauge wire and some electrical connectors. To do so, I'll just cut the wire to length, attach and crimp the terminals, heat shrink the tubing, and then attach the 2 ring connectors with a nut and bolt setup. That way it's easily reversible if I ever decide to switch back to an OEM starter option. And I also have some new rubber boots for the electrical leads and some new mounting bolts to complete the installation. In order to replace the starter, you'll first need to disconnect the positive terminal on the battery. There's an electrical lead here that runs directly to the starter, and you wouldn't want to ground out any tools while removing it. Next, you'll need to raise the front of the car on jack stands or ramps, and below the car, you'll find the starter attached to the lower bell housing towards the rear of the engine. Here's a quick look at the wiring for the starter. There are really only 2 connectors that we need to be concerned about, this larger one here and this smaller one. The larger connector has the positive lead from the battery, as well as an electrical cable coming back from the alternator to complete the charge circuit. And the smaller one is for the ignition switch circuit. So when you turn the key to the start position, it activates this power connector and supplies energy to the solenoid. The solenoid is basically an electromagnet that will pull back a plunger inside here, which pushes the fork forward on this side to drive the pinion gear into the ring gear. At the same time it's pulling back, there are some contacts inside that bridge the connection between this connector and this connector, and that sends the charge through this cable into the starter to begin to activate the starter motor. And as the starter motor turns, it will then turn the ring gear and turn the engine. So you really don't need to mess around with this connector. This one remains in place, and the negative or the ground for the circuit is achieved through the starter housing as it attaches to the bell housing. So if you've replaced your starter and you're still chasing down some kind of electrical issues, you may want to check your ground connections up on the bell housing and the engine block. There are a couple of them that can be cleaned up, and they're just above the bracket for the reference and speed sensors. After removing the 8mm and the 13mm nuts that secure the electrical connections, the wires can be disconnected and pushed aside. The starter is secured by 2 19mm bolts, one on either side. These starters have a bit of weight to them, so make sure you've got a good grip on it before pulling it down. And with the old starter removed, you can clean up the mounting area along with any corrosion on the electrical terminals. Here's a look at the 2 starters side by side. I did just weigh both of them, and the OEM starter is coming in at 8 pounds, and the new one about a half a pound heavier at 8.55 pounds. The original starter is a couple inches longer, however, because of the planetary gear reduction setup. On the end of the drive shaft for the motor is a sun gear, and that turns 3 planet gears around a fixed ring gear inside of this housing, attached to which is a 3-pronged carrier, which ultimately drives the pinion gear on the end of the starter. Motor here is on the right and the solenoid is on the left, and as it pulls back, there's that forked lever that pushes the pinion gear forward. On the new one, this is an offset gear reduction because the drive shaft for the motor is offset from the drive shaft for the pinion gear, and the gear reduction is inside this housing here. This is a Nippon Denso motor, so it is a high quality part. It's the same company that produced a number of the AC compressors used on the Porsche cars. And on the right, we have the solenoid. There is some heat reduction set up in here, so inside this housing is an air pocket before we get to the solenoid, which helps with heat resistance and keeping this thing nice and efficient. I did just bench test both of these, and the original starter is quite a bit noisier, and the action is a little bit sluggish and not very precise, whereas the new one is very quick and smooth. If you want to bench test a starter, you can just connect some jumper cables up to a battery and attach the negative to the housing and the positive to the stud, and then you can jumper a wire from here over to the ignition connection. So let's go ahead and check out what each one sounds like, and then we'll get the new one installed on the car. The new starter is installed in the reverse sequence, so go ahead and raise the starter into position, then thread and tighten down the 2 mounting bolts. The 19mm bolts here have a recommended torque value of 48 foot-pounds, but I'll usually just secure them good and tight with a hand wrench. Now that the new starter is properly installed, the electrical leads can be reconnected and tightened down as well, and once everything looks good below, the battery terminals can be reconnected in the engine bay. With everything installed and reconnected, let's see how the new starter sounds. With all the parts replaced, I've got a reliable DME relay installed. The new battery added a bit of improvement as well, and as you can see, the new starter has the engine turning over at a nice quick pace, and it sounds great too.